on replacing the icon for our game, also known as the launcher icon, because it's the icon that launches the application. First, I have updated my computer to Windows 8.1, which I can tell that runs really great. I have then installed the development tools as discussed in the previous lessons, but you don't need to make any changes to your installation at this point. So, back to our mission to change our game icon. If I'm opening the BlueStacks emulator, this is how the icon looks right now. It is represented by the blue player car. Let's see where the icon is located. In order to do that, I will open the Eclipse IDE, will navigate to the Android manifest.xml file and will open it. If we scroll down through the file, we can find a line saying Android:icon. This line indicates where the file containing our icon is located. In this case, we can see that the file is located inside the drawable folder and is called icon. Let's browse to that folder. The drawable folder is located inside the resources folder, and this contains a file called icon.png. Let's open the file, and this is the image that we saw in our emulator, our game icon, the blue player car. And if we take a look at the image size, we can see that this is a 114 by 114 pixels PNG file. So we need to take these aspects into consideration when replacing the icon. Now, this is not the default image size for an icon, as we'll see later. Let's close this file and get back to our Eclipse editor. Right now, the icon is located inside the drawable folder. But as we can see, there are a few drawable folders available in our project, called drawable and then some text like HDPI, LDPI, MDPI and so forth. So what are these? I'll start the discussion about all this by introducing you to the multi-screen support in Android. There are many devices on the market that runs Android, having different screen sizes and resolutions. The quantity of pixels within a physical area of the screen represents the screen density, also referred as DPI or dots per inch. For example, a low-density screen has fewer pixels within a given physical area compared to a normal or high-density screen. We say that this has a lower DPI or LDPI. To deal with this problem, Android is using several size images to display the corresponding graphics at the runtime. For example, if you're running an app on a small screen device with low resolution, Android will use the images located in the drawable-LDPI folder, if available, to display the graphics on the screen. Same if you're running your application on a tablet, for example, which usually has more DPI. Android is using the images located in the drawable/XXDPI to display the graphics on the screen. This will usually have a higher resolution than the ones in the drawable/LDPI folder. We can see how Android is grouping these images into 6 generalized densities, which are low, medium, high, extra high, extra high, and extra high. And if we scroll further down on this page, we can find the appropriate number of dots per inch for each density, starting from 120 dpi and ending with 640 dpi. Now, if we switch back to our Eclipse IDE, we can find all these folders in our resources folder. But there are some folders missing. These are XXHDPI and XXXHDPI. But right now, all the game assets are located in the drawable folder. The other folders don't contain any images. This means that our game is not optimized for several screen resolutions or DPIs. If we run the game on a low-end phone or a high-end tablet, each having different screen resolutions, the same graphics are being displayed. We'll need to create the graphics for each, or at least for most common screen resolutions. But this lesson is about game icon, so I will create this in several resolutions. But first, let's decide what image we want to use as an icon for our game. I decided to use the new player car, the white Audi R8, so I will open up a new Windows Explorer and will browse to the location of our graphics package downloaded from Code Canyon. Inside, there is an asset folder which holds our car graphics, so I decided to use the car1.png file as an icon for our game. Let's open up the image and this is looking pretty good. In an upcoming lesson, I will discuss about how to purchase these icons or hire someone to create it for you. If we take a look at this image size, we can see that this has 250 pixels width and 215 pixels height. So we will need to reduce that size in order to be able to use it as an icon. In order to get help with that, I would like to present you an online web application which does exactly what we need. It resizes our images to make it compatible with our game icon. So, I will open up a new browser tab and will search for Android icon generator on Google. The first link in the result page, called Android Asset Studio Icon Generator Launcher Icons, is the one that we are looking for. By accessing this link, we are presented with a web interface that we can use to upload our image file, clip art or text, and this will convert it into an icon file. As we can see, this application will resize our image for almost all possible screen DPIs. I say almost because it will not generate it for LDPI, this being an old format used in the early smartphones a few years ago. So the lowest DPI right now is MDPI or medium DPI. As I said, this application takes an image file, a clip art or even a text as an input for our icon. In our case, we will use an image file, so I will click on image and will browse to the location of my car1.png file and will select this image. The application is smart enough to recognize the car in our image and focus on it. If you remember, the border around the car was pretty large, but this has been reduced in our image. Next, we have several options to modify or alter the image, like scaling it, giving it a shape, using a background, and so on. For example, if we use circle as a shape, we can see the car in a circle background. I like how the image looks by using the square option, so I will use that to generate the icon. We can also crop the image, making it look more like the original icon when only a part of the car was available in the image. But I'm not going to use that right now, so I will switch back to center and will stick with this image for now. Next, we have the option to export this as a zip file or as a web icon. In my case, I will use the download zip button in order to download the archive containing the icons. Let's open the archive, and as we can see, there are several folders present, each containing the icon for a specific DPI. As discussed, all DPIs are present except the LDPI, which is used in pretty old devices, hard to find on the market right now. Let's start with HDPI or High DPI. One thing to notice here is the name of the file, which is ic_launcher.png. Our current icon is called icon.png, so we'll have to rename this file to match with our current icon or change the name of the icon file in the Android manifest.xml file. Let's open the image, and this looks pretty small. If we open the properties window for this image, we can see that this is a 72 by 72 pixels image. Let's choose it and then open another image. Let's pick the one from XHDPI or Extra High DPI folder. If we access the properties again, we can see that this is a bit larger image, one having 96 by 96 pixels, as this is higher resolution image used in higher DPI screens. And let's open the latest image, the one located in the XXX HDPI or Extra High DPI folder. By displaying the properties for this image, we can see that this is a 192 by 192 pixels image, larger even than the actual icon for our game, which was 114 by 114 pixels. This icon will be used in the highest DPI screen available at this time. Okay, let's see how we can import all these images in Eclipse. I will open up all these side by side, the Eclipse editor and the archive file containing our icon images, and we'll start by double checking the size of the actual icon image file, which appears to be 114 by 114 pixels. We don't have one corresponding image in our archive file with exact these dimensions, so we'll use the closest available one. The image located in the HDPI folder is 72 by 72 pixels, so I will just copy and paste this into its corresponding folder, which is drawable HDPI. When copying this, make sure that the Copy Files option is selected in the File Operation window and not the Link to Files option. This will make sure that the file is actually copied into the destination folder. Next is the MDPI folder, which contains a 48 by 48 pixels image. Again, this is not the closest one to our actual size, so I will just copy this into the drawable MDPI folder of our app. Let's continue with XHDPI. Again, this image is 96 by 96 pixels, which could be the closest one to our original icon so far. But let's first copy this image into the XHDPI folder, and we'll get back to that later. Next, let's check the XXHDPI image. This is a 144 by 144 pixels image. This is larger than our original image file, so we'll use the 96 pixel image to replace the original one. But let's finish with these folders first. As we can see, there is no XXHDPI folder in our app, so I will copy the image along with the folder this time. This will create the XXHDPI folder in Eclipse. And lastly, the XXXHDPI folder. This contains a 192 by 192 pixels image. Again, this folder is not available in our project, so I will copy the whole folder in Eclipse. Now, let's get back to our original icon image. I will open the extra HDPI folder and let's check again the image size that it contains. This is a 96 by 96 pixels, so we'll head over the drawable folder in our project to check the image size of our icon.png file. As we remember, this is a 114 by 114 pixels image, so I will end up copying the IC_launcher.png file from the archive to the drawable folder in our project. One last step to complete in order to be able to test the game is to actually rename the IC_launcher.png file to icon.png, as our manifest file contains a reference to this image as the icon for the game. So I will delete the icon.png file, and as soon as I do that, I receive an error in the manifest file because the reference is now broken and no icon.png file currently exists in our drawable folder. We will solve this by simply renaming the IC_launcher.png file into icon.png. Another solution was to actually change the reference in our Android manifest file to point to the IC_launcher file. The error disappears because we now have an icon.png file in our project. It's time to run the game and see the change. But first I will make sure that Eclipse has detected all these changes by simply refreshing the project. It will not be necessary to do this because we change all these files by using Eclipse and not directly in their locations outside of Eclipse, using Windows Explorer for example. But just to be sure, we will proceed with this refresh step. And now, the moment we all have been waiting for, to run the game. I'll press the run button, and as you can see, there are two devices available for testing the application, my Nexus 5 phone and the BlueStacks emulator. I will use the second one by selecting it and pressing the OK button in order to run the game. And a few seconds later, we can see the game running in the emulator. But we are not really interested in the game at this time, as we only changed the icon for it. So we'll exit the game and voila! The game now uses the new icon with the white Audi R8 car. Now, the game icon is also compatible with all screen densities. So if you run the game on an older phone which has a medium screen density, or in more recent phone with a high or extra high screen density, Android will use the corresponding icon for that screen density or DPI. So, back to our mission to change our game icon. If I'm opening the BlueStacks emulator, this is how the icon looks right now. It is represented by the blue player car. Let's see where the icon is located. In order to do that, I will open the Eclipse IDE, will navigate to the Android manifest.xml file and will open it. If we scroll on replacing the icon for our game, also known as the launcher icon, because it's the icon that launches the application. First, I have updated my computer to Windows 8.1, which I can tell that runs really great. I have then installed the development tools as discussed in the previous lessons, but you don't need to make any changes to your installation at this point. It contains a file called icon.png. Let's open the file and this is the image that we saw in our emulator, our game icon, the blue player car. And if we take a look at the image size, we can see that this is a 114 by 114 pixels PNG file. So we need to take these aspects into consideration when replacing the icon. Now, this is not the default image size for an icon, as we'll see later. Let's close this file and get back to our Eclipse editor. Right now, the icon is located inside the drawable folder. But as we can see, there are a few drawable folders available in our project, called drawable and then some text like HDPI, LDPI, MDPI. Scroll down through the file, we can find a line saying Android:*icon. This line indicates where the file containing our icon is located. In this case, we can see that the file is located inside the drawable folder and is called icon. Let's browse to that folder. The drawable folder is located inside the resources folder, and this contains